How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to BMW Review. Today we're going to be going over part 4 of our Hidden Tricks series. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, BMW Review, what we do here is showcase all the latest BMWs. We also do some really cool hidden tips, tricks, and features reviews. So if that's something that you guys are into, subscribe to the channel because we put out content every single week. So everyone, before we get started on part 4 of this series, we just quickly wanted to mention our BMW courses. We do have courses for the X3 and X5. So if you were looking to know every little thing there is to know about your BMW in a step-by-step, detailed fashion, be sure to check out these courses. They will benefit you a whole lot. And the biggest thing, they will save you tons and tons of time. You can simply just take the course and completely avoid reading the 450-page manual. So feel free to check these out. The links for these are going to be right down below. And again, we have it all set for the BMW X3 and BMW X5. And stay tuned for other BMW courses because those are going to be down the pipeline. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with number 1. So say, for example, for number 1, we all know that whenever you open the door at nighttime, the interior light will turn on. Well, did you know that there is a way to deactivate that? Now, the way that you're going to deactivate that, if you wanted to, would not be in the system that we have here. It is quite tricky. The way that you would have to do it is simply you would open your door, and then once you do that, as you can see, the lighting is on. And if you want to deactivate that every single time that happens, all you have to do is hold this down for about 3 seconds. The lights will go black. And then now, whenever you open your door at nighttime, you're not going to see those lights turn on, and that's how you deactivate the interior lighting. And also for this next one, we did mention this in one of our previous videos, so my subscribers will know about this one really well. But there is a way to turn off the screens at nighttime. And so in the last generation of BMWs, you would have to hit the start-stop button 2 times. Well, now for the newer generation of BMWs, all you have to do to say, for example, is if your car was off and if your door was open, you can see that the lighting within the car and the screens are still on. But there is a way to deactivate that. The only thing that you would have to do is simply hold down the volume knob for about 3 seconds. So watch this. 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, the screens did just turn off. That will also turn off the lighting within the car as well. And that's how you turn off your screens. Now, this one's a good one if you have the driver's assistance package. As you can see, I did go ahead and activate the feature, but there is a way to deactivate distance control. Now, this is very, very hidden. Of course, it is going to be in the manual, but all you would have to do is simply hold down one of these 2 buttons for a few seconds, and that will deactivate distance control. So watch this. I'm going to hold it down. And as you can see on the very bottom, it says distance control deactivated. That's how you would turn off distance control. And now your cruise control would just be a standard cruise control. For this next one, did you all know that every BMW has a motion detector? Now, we did mention this in one of our key fob videos, but just to mention it again, just to make sure that you all know, especially those that have pets. Now, if you were to leave your pet inside the vehicle, there's a good chance that it will set off the motion detector that all BMWs have. So there is a way to use the key fob to deactivate that motion detector. The way that you would simply do that is press lock once, and then within 10 seconds, you're going to press lock again. To demonstrate it, I'm going to press lock once, and of course, within 10 seconds, press lock again. And by doing that, you will turn off your car's motion detector. This next one is going to be very, very beneficial to you because it's going to save tons of arguments and fights. So BMWs, if you were to go into the mobile devices page where we have all of our phones connected, go into communication, go into mobile devices, and then you can see that we have multiple phones here. Now, there is a way to set up priorities for this. Say, for example, if 2 phones were to enter the vehicle at once, the vehicle is not going to know which phone to connect to first, so there is a way to prioritize that. Once you have multiple phones connected within your BMW, simply go into the mobile devices screen, and then you want to go into settings. Once you go into settings, you're going to see priorities for telephones right over here. You're going to click on that, and then as you can see, we have multiple phones here, and then we're going to put Vasim's phone on top there so that his phone will connect first whenever both phones get into the vehicle. This next one is a really good feature that BMWs have, and it is called PDC with emergency braking. By default, this feature is off, but let me demonstrate to you what it is. BMWs, they have this little P with the cone button right over here. If you were to click on that, it brings up our parking sensor screen. And then once we're in this parking sensor screen, yours may not look like this, but it's okay because the function still works the same way. If you were to go into settings right over here, there is a function right over here called active PDC with brake intervention. If you go ahead and go into that, by default, all BMWs, they do have this off. You do have to go in here and enable this. But basically what this will do is, say for example, you are backing up, and even though the vehicle has a radar sensing system, if the vehicle thinks that you're going to reverse into the car, it can apply the emergency brakes for you all by itself. All you have to do is simply just check this one off, and this vehicle has emergency braking on sides as well. So we're just gonna check that off now. Now, if we were to reverse into the vehicle behind us, the vehicle will keep us safe and apply the brakes for us. For this next one, it is quite microscopic. I'm pretty sure that many of us do not know what this one will do, because I literally just found out about this a month ago as well. But by default, all BMWs, if you were to look at the climate control buttons, all the new ones, they have this one as well. There is a hidden little button right over here. Now, it's actually not a button, so to speak, but it is a sensor. Now, what this little guy right here will do is actually sense the temperature within the vehicle, and that's how the car knows what temperature is inside the cabin, and it helps the vehicle adjust the temperature accordingly. This next one is a good one for people who have heated seats. There is a way to change the distribution of the heated seat, and what I mean by that is, say for example, you can control the distribution whether you want the heated seat to be more heated on the bottom or the back, right over here. Now, the way that you would do that is in the climate control menu, which this 5 Series has a menu button right over here. Every BMW should have a menu button. You simply want to go into your climate control menu button, and then you're going to see a screen that looks like this. You simply just want to go down to where it says seat heating distribution, and if you were to click on, say for example, the driver's seat, you can control where do you want the majority of the heat to come out from. Now, by default, it is set to more of your backside, but say for example, you wanted your actual seat to be more heated, you can simply just move this over to this side, and now the majority of the heat will come from the bottom part of the seat. For this next one, all the BMWs have it. Let's say for example, if our BMW was on and we just arrived at our stop, this gear shifter that we have right over here, say for example, we just arrived at the parking spot that we want to be at. Our vehicle, as you can see, is in drive, or say for example, if it was in reverse. Depending on whichever gear it was in, you actually do not even have to put the vehicle in park. All you would have to simply do is just turn off your vehicle by the on and off switch, and watch what happens right down below. The vehicle just went into park all by itself. All the BMWs with electronic shifters, they all have this, so definitely use that step, especially the new ones with the shifters that look like this. It will save you another step that you have to do in order to turn off the car, and it will save you a valuable 2 seconds. Now, this next one is a general one, and all vehicles have this, but I literally just found out about it a year ago. As you can see, we do have our fuel gauge here. If you don't already see it, there is always going to be a little arrow right over there, right beside the gas pump, that lets you know which side your fuel cap is going to be on. Now, let me get a little bit closer because I know it is going to be a little blurry, but as you can see right over there, there is an arrow facing right, and that lets you know which side your fuel cap is on, so then you don't have to go inside and walk in the wrong direction. And again, that is not BMW specific. Many vehicles, they all have that, but again, it is a really uncommon thing for us to know, so I just want to bring that out just so we all know now. Another one that many BMWs have, they all have this LIM buttons that stands for limit. Now, what speed limit or limit does is simply you can press that button whenever you're driving, and you can set your limit or a speed limit to, say for example, be 80 miles per hour. So then the vehicle will prevent you from using your accelerator to go past 80 miles per hour. You can, however, press the accelerator harder and it will bypass that, but that is simply to help you maintain your speed and avoid speeding tickets. Now, for this next one, we are going to jump outside, but I will tell you all in advance that it's very, very windy out and it's super cold too, so it might get a little bit noisy. Let's go outside. So we are here right behind the 5 Series, and I did want to bring up the tow hook cover. The tow hook cover is going to be this little guy right over here. Now, if you were wondering on how to pop this out, there is going to be a little arrow that you see right over here, and that is what you would push down to remove your tow hook cover. So these days, many BMWs, they all come with a key lock. As you can see, the rims do have a key lock right inside there. You can see that the one that looks like a star is one that is actually locked in. Now, all BMWs, they do come with a key, but the key is very, very hidden. Now, the wheel lock key can be anywhere within the vehicle. For this 5 Series and many other sedans, you're going to see it inside the case that holds the tow hook cover. So let me demonstrate. If I were to go into here, I would see this little case that we have here, which actually has a tow hook. But did you know that inside here is also going to be the wheel lock key that is hidden right in this little slot right over there? That is going to be your wheel lock key. And again, the wheel lock key was in this tow hook cover, which I found inside there. And if you're wondering, this is the tow hook. You're most likely never ever going to have to use that, but just so you know, both of these items are going to be locked away inside your BMW. Again, it could be underneath the spare tire compartment, or in this 5 Series, it's going to be right in here. All right, so that was pretty cold and windy, so now I'm back in the car and I plan on staying here. Another one that was mentioned in one of my previous videos, as you can see right over here, we do have our wireless charger right ahead of the cup holders here. Now, the trick with this one is that there is a way to let you know if you have the wireless charger or not. BMW does use the same cutout for many of their vehicles, but there is two different physical ways that you have a wireless charger. Those two different ways are going to be right down below. Right over here, the two things that we are going to look for to see if the vehicle has a wireless charger is going to be this little fuel cell that we see right over here, which resembles a battery. That is one way to tell. Another way to tell is going to be this little cutout right over here. If you see this little cutout, this is the light that actually turns blue whenever your wireless charger is on. And those are two main ways that you can tell physically that your BMW has a wireless charger. This next one is going to be a good one for people that may have a drive recorder. So if your BMW did come with a parking assistance plus package, which basically means if it came with a bird's eye 3D view, the one that looks like this guy right over here, more likely than not, your BMW did come with a drive recorder. So what a drive recorder is going to be this little guy right down here. Is basically going to be another camera system that works a little bit differently. If I were to go into that, you can see that it brings up a wide angle view of the front. It will also bring up a wide angle view of the back, depending on whichever gear you're in. But as you can see, that you can set up a activation point. Now what that activation point means is, say for example, I was to go in this parking lot every single day, I could set this parking lot as an activation point. Then what that will simply do is remember this parking lot that I'm at, and whenever I drive into it, this front angle wide view will pop up all by itself every single day as soon as I arrive at this activation point, and it will basically be here to help me park. This next one has also been around for a long time, again pertaining to the climate control. There is no real off button. You do see fan off right over here and right over here. Let's just say, for example, if our fan speed was up pretty high, say for example you wanted to turn off the air conditioning or the heating, you would think that you would have to press this down every single time and go all the way down to deactivate that. But did you know that all you would have to do is simply hold this down, and that will just deactivate the feature all by itself? That also works for the left side as well. All you would have to do is hold this down, and that deactivates the feature just like the last one. And again, many of the BMWs, they all have this. More likely than not, your BMW probably has this too, so definitely use that. Same thing does apply to heated seats as well. So let's just say, for example, if our heated seat was on, if I fully just wanted to deactivate that, all that I would have to do is hold this down, and as you can see, the heated seats just deactivated. Another one pertaining to safety, or lack of, I should say, is going to have to do with this intelligent safety button. Now, many of us will probably not be doing this unless you plan on driving your vehicle very, very sporty, say for example on the track. There is a way to fully deactivate the safety system within the vehicle. As you can see, by default, it is usually all on. Let's just say, for example, you just completely wanted to deactivate every single safety feature inside your car just so you can have some more fun with it. All you would have to do is hold this down. All intelligent safety systems are deactivated, and now everything is completely off and you have no safety on at all. This next one is going to be a funny one. Many people do not know how to take off their protective covering on their screens. It is quite funny, but this will save you a little bit of time and a little bit of embarrassment. But many of the BMWs that are brand new, they of course have all this plastic covering. Many people, whenever they try to peel this off, they try to go up here, but there's a better way to remove the protective covering. Every new BMW has covering and a little tab right over here. If you were to simply just pull on this little tab, you can easily just take off your protective covering without leaving fingerprints all over your screen. Again, there's one on there. There's also one over here. The majority of them are going to have a little tab here, but this M550 that we have here has a tab right over here. And lastly, if you see anything blue, such as covering like that, you can remove that as well. The biggest one that people miss every single time is going to be this one right over here. Now again, this BMW is a little bit different, but the majority of them have plastic covering that is completely blue, and people just completely forget to take that off. Again, if your kick panel right over here is blue, that basically means that it has plastic covering on it, so be sure you remove that as well. This next one is a good one to go into if you are trying to figure out to see if your vehicle has the feature where you can kick beneath the trunk to open the trunk. Many of the previous BMWs, they had this, but now many BMWs are coming without this feature, but there is a way to go into the system to confirm whether you have it or not. So let's just say, for example, again, this is iDrive 7, but iDrive 8 works the same way. You would simply just go into car as this fourth one right over here, and then you want to go into settings. Once you go into settings, you want to scroll all the way over to vehicle, doors and access. Once you go into that, you're going to see tailgate right over here. Once you get into tailgate, if you have a SUV, you're going to see the option to lower your tailgate to a specific height that you want. And below that, you're going to see the same thing that we see here in this 5 Series. But you're going to see the option to check on or off the open with foot movement, or to close it as well. That is one great way to confirm to see if your BMW has the kick to open trunk feature. And many of the times, if you do get a BMW, it is wise to check on this first before you begin to start kicking beneath your vehicle, because the other thing that could be wrong with it is that there is a good chance that these two features are going to be off. so you may have to enable them first. This next one's a really cool safety feature that many of you do not know about as well. There is a SOS button here, and I know that I mentioned it in my part 2 video of this series that it is a 2-click press. You have to open that first and then press that in. But did you know, God forbid, if the airbags did go off within the vehicle, that SOS button will be called all by itself, so you can be at ease on calling 911. Of course, it wouldn't hurt to do it yourself, but if the airbags go off, the SOS gets called all by itself, and then help will be on its way. This next one's a good one if you do not like your steering wheel vibrating too much. Now, say for example, if you were one of the ones that went into here and then you wanted to configure, and then you actually were one of the ones that turned off the steering intervention for lane departure. If you were to do that, now the only thing that you would get whenever you try to get out the lane without using your blinker is that you would get a slight vibration on the steering wheel. There is a way to control that vibration feeling. The way that you would do that is simply go back to your home screen, and then if you go back into car settings, you would go into car settings and then settings one more time, and then you're going to see driver assistance. If you go into driver assistance, you're going to see right over here that there's a feature called steering wheel feedback, and then within that you're going to see vibration intensity. So if you wanted to control the sensitivity or intensity of your vibration, you could do that. If you want it to be very, very strong, by default it is set to medium. You could also do it as light, so it's not too intrusive. A couple of the tricky buttons that BMW has are going to be these two right over here. Now, if you have a head-up display, if you were to not look at your head-up display and go ahead and push these buttons, you can see that there is nothing going on within the car. So you're probably wondering what the heck these two buttons do. But now you can see right over here that if I were to go ahead and push this button right over here, you can see that something pops up right beside the head-up display, and from here you can choose your different modes for the media. And not only that too, but once that goes away, if I were to just move the scrolling knob that is right above it, you can see that more things will pop up. But again, right now our phone is not connected, so you're not going to see too much. But if you were to just simply move the scrolling knob, you can see all the different tracks that are going to be coming up next, and you can choose whichever one you want to listen to. And lastly, one other thing too, if you were to press your phone button, you can see that if you press phone, nothing really happens as well. It does bring up this screen, but that does not help us too much if our phone was already connected. But if I were to press the phone button, you can see that recent calls will pop up right there as well. So if you want to redial a recent call, you can simply just press on the phone button and use your scrolling knob to select whichever phone you wanted to call back. That is going to wrap it up for part 4 of our hidden tricks series. Get ready for part 5 because that is going to be coming out in about a month or so. Again, to wrap it up, be sure to check out our BMW courses, the X3 Course and the X5 Course. The link for those are going to be right down below. Again, these courses will really help you save plenty of time, and at the same time, you're going to learn a ton of value from it as well. So definitely check out the links right down below. You have nothing to lose. That is going to wrap it up for the video, but if you guys did have any questions, write those down below. I would be more than happy to help you, and I do respond to every single comment, so don't be shy. Stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next one.